Hi, I'm Shannon. So, a little bit about me. I go to school full-time for digital media. And on my free time, I like to hike, #hiking, surf, go to the beach, hang out with friends, and I'm also a GIF making machine. I'm practicing to join the choir, and I hope to soon take oath for Children's Worship Service Overseer. And I also work full-time for INC Media Services.
Did you do slow-mo?
And I'm here to talk to you about... the value of helping the church.
It means responsibility.
Responsibility.
จงรักภักดี
Sacrifice.
Comfort.
It's my only wealth in this life.
Wealth.
priority
Purpose.
blessing
And to me, a duty or an office in the Church of Christ is my life. It's my lifestyle and my way of living closer to God. There are lots of duties to hold inside the Church of Christ, like
an organist,
Scan.
KADIWA president.
secretary,
Multimedia Bureau member.
LOS.
A CWS teacher.
my friend Dustin from Kapolei, Hawaii is also in TRG, and he also does a bunch of really cool stuff. He's just really modest about it all.
I'm a real estate agent. I do all this other stuff. I think I've traveled around enough. I'm also a trainee for the choir.
You see what I mean?
The first one that I spend the most time on, I think, would be TRG, which is the Technical Resource Group. On top of installing all of the audio-visual stuff, like, you know, all of the TVs, the projectors, the projector screens, and all of the microphones on the podium. We also are the behind the scenes for a lot of the video streams that we do, but there's nothing that can compare to doing your duty and that feeling you get of just helping the brethren.
And you get that feeling no matter which duty you have in the church. Maybe you're just like Cheyenne from London, who is just always running around from one aspect of life to another. As a children's worship service teacher, district KADIWA officer, helping in INC radio, she's a busy lady, this one. Now, I'm sure at one point or another, someone has asked you to be an officer. Am I right? Maybe your hesitation before was that you didn't want to get into something without knowing the pros, the cons, what you'll be getting out of it, or even what you'll be doing. And that's completely understandable. We're all adults who value our time. I get it. But I want you to meet someone from Thailand who's going to give us some insight. If you were ever wondering what you'd get out of being an officer, listen to Genevieve.
I am Sister Genevieve Valdez, KADIWA in local of Bangkok, an organist, secretary, an officer in KADIWA district, and an EBC bureau, working and studying at the same time.
Sound familiar? Hearts for working students. But with all the things on her plate, this is what Genevieve thinks of her duties.
I feel so blessed po. In Thai, it means like รู้สึกดี รู้สึก If we put our duties first, God will make a miracle.
We all need one of those sometimes. Actually, all the time. Genevieve works crazy hours, something like 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., and then goes straight to perform her duties, and then goes straight to class, and is somehow still awake? How do you say miracle in Thai? Patehan?
It's a miracle, but sometimes po, I think before I go to work, oh my gosh, I'm so dead. And then but when I came to work, it's all good. When I have my exam, then I get good grades.
But see, Genevieve has discovered that officers get a little bonus, something extra, the good kind.
So we get to listen to the words of God more often than the usual members. So those words, we can use it in our lives po. Literally, we heard a lot of more lessons from God. That's why we are always reminded po.
So if you didn't catch that, the something extra that officers get is like an extra guard. It's like an extra layer of God's teachings. They learn more about God and His commandments because they hear it more often. And during the performance of their duties, they have more of an opportunity to pray. And you know us officers, everything starts and ends with a prayer. Like everything. It's our first and last line of defense. So if we were to ask officers like her if they would ever give that up, what do you think they would say?
No. Big no.
Me neither. Not ever. Like, ever.
Despite everything that's happening in my life, I think the only place I can ever find peace is here in the chapel performing my duty. That's why I continue to still be an officer. Aside from, of course, getting closer to God spiritually, I think outside of the chapel, it's brought me closer to a lot more like-minded individuals. It's basically given me a whole new family.
But seriously, if you're looking for people of value in your life, but not sure who's worth the time and effort, people who make the time and effort for God are the best people to be friends with.
And I remember I would just hang out with my out-of-church friends, and I would always be trying to do something fun, something that would complete me, and I would never find it until I found my duty. And I think that's one of the biggest things between then and now, because now I feel complete. No matter what I do, I could be sitting at home, I'll still feel whole.
For me, my duty inside INC Media Services is my everything. Welcome to this update from INC News World. I'm Shannon Santa Maria from the INC Media Services Honolulu studios. It's a purpose and a calling that can't be fulfilled by anything else in my life. But that doesn't mean that the thing I love most in my life is struggle-free. It doesn't mean that there are no challenges either. Now, think of yourself at work. You wouldn't want to stay in the same position forever, would you? I mean, you'd eventually want to get promoted. So how about in your faith? Do you want to stay at the same level of faith forever? Wouldn't it kind of feel like you're not improving or progressing? Proactively progressing with your faith is what we're talking about here. Adding an office in your life is progress. Now, don't get me wrong. Battling the rush of living doesn't just go away when you have a duty. So let's have a real conversation about the challenges. Cheyenne is really good at balancing it all. Now, nobody's perfect, but her hustle is definitely worth taking note of.
Hi, I'm Cheyenne. I would say that I'm a motivated individual. I love setting goals and working towards them, and just forever a work in progress. I'm a choir member. I'm also a district KADIWA president. I'm an INC radio producer, and I'm also a children's worship service teacher. So that's me.
It's hard to balance time. You know, sometimes you feel like you don't have enough hours in your day. But we were always told that, you know, there's a reason why God gave us 24 hours in a day, because, you know, that's the perfect timing for us to fulfill everything that we need to do in that day. And, you know, that's where it becomes easy, you know, facing those challenges. You know, when you have that genuine love, that genuine faith, when it comes to performing your duties, you forget about all the challenges and the hardships, because you're driven by that love, you're driven by that faith, that motivation to carry on and to just endure through the challenges that you might face.
And that's how a lawyer, a children's worship service teacher, a choir member, a district KADIWA president, and an INC radio producer does her thing. And she does it well. But maybe we all just don't have that much going on. And that's okay. Maybe we just have that one big thing going on. Maybe it's our career. Maybe it's our degree. And for some of us, taking care of our parents is that one big thing going on in our lives right now.
My mom is a cancer patient po, stage 4 breast cancer po. Ever since before, we had a tough life, and because she has to raise us alone, I started working when I was 14, 16, since she said that God will provide as long as we perform our duties. God will never leave us alone. So don't never forsake performing our duties. Sometimes I get scolded po at work because most of the time po I have to perform in other locales, and as an organist, have to go there and then go straight to work po. But I just like work extra for them not to fire me.
Sound familiar? I've also had those days when everything just feels so...
Well, sometimes po, it's really hard. It's really hard that sometimes we want to like quit. What will I think po? It's like, why will be I like this? Like, it's God who gave us this. it's God who gave me this knowledge, then I should use this in serving Him. And with my studies, sometimes I miss exams because I have to perform. So I said, God will help me though.
Genevieve took the words right out of my mouth. I pray every day to make it through too. Through life, through school, just to balance it all. So those are the challenges we told you we'd be real about. And that's what we've tried to do. There's a saying that goes, your problem is not the problem. The way you're thinking about the problem is the problem. Or something like that. Let's just listen to Ron. He says it better.
Hello everyone, I'm Ron. I am currently in Sacramento. Just finished my residency. I'm working as a family doctor up in Kaiser. I've also been involved still with the different first aid when we have sports activities or within the Felix Y. Manala Foundation.
Just so you know, Ron is bookload. What's so inspiring about Ron is that he continued his duties all throughout his residency. Talk about juggling.
So for those who are like starting off and becoming an officer, it can be a challenge, but it all depends on how you perceive it. But at the end of the day, I think the challenge essentially is how to find a way to just mold the two together so that you don't see it as a challenge, that your friends either become part of what you do or they appreciate what your work is when you're in the KADIWA organization, whatever it may be.
And total side note, if you're friends with someone whose faith is progressing forward as they accept a duty, please don't fight it. Don't fight the time you think you're losing with your friend. Instead, be proud of them. They're living their best life with intention. And take it as a challenge for yourself and not as a problem.
When you're an officer at church, it takes time. And for a lot of people, they may think that that time is used better somewhere else. Sacrifice is all perception. It's like a matter of like, if I gave up time, is it a sacrifice? Because if I would rather use that time to do stuff at church rather than doing something else that maybe someone would find more appealing, like watch a movie or something, then to that person it would be considered sacrifice. But to me it wouldn't be, because the thing that I'm enjoying is what I'm doing.
Which is why I found duties that overlap with my passions in life. Editing and storytelling for INC Media Services are just one of those examples. And this is where structure of living as an officer can really change your life. Everyone we talked to said that being an officer taught them discipline and how to better manage their time. Having a duty is like receiving constant feedback and quality checks on how you're growing in your faith and in your duties. If you start to stray too far in one direction or another, there are loving and respectful peers and leaders around you to guide you.
Accepting an office, it's really good book. Like, it's the way God bring you closer to Him, and it's the way God guide you. It's God give to you. It's the way that God will bless you more. Not just you, but also your family po.
Now raise your hand if you've actually said that in a prayer. God, please bless me. But what if God was blessing you with a duty? Let that sink in.
The past few years, I wasn't really as active as I am now. I would just go to worship service, leave, attend some of the activities, go to the meetings, but what really pushed me to joining a lot of these offices was, I think, the expansion of the church.
Now raise your hand if your local congregation is less than a year old, or just a few years old. So you're seeing the expansion of the church firsthand. Cool, right? Now raise your hand if you're one of those members who attends worship service and then runs away really fast and doesn't look back because, oh my gosh, someone might talk to you, but you really just want to make it to heaven without putting in any serious effort. Okay, put your hands down. Don't admit that one.
I remember when I was first becoming an officer, I still thought I didn't really need this. I was really strong in my faith, you know, but the biggest game changer for me was becoming that KADIWA president and realizing that I wasn't just guarding the faith. I wasn't just guarding my faith. I was guarding the faith of those that I was tasked with taking care of. And I think that is what a lot of officers feel as well, because that's what keeps us going.
No matter what, how hard it is, po, if God put you there, no one can stop you, po.
And that's a great thing she said. If God put you there, no one can stop you. So when you leave here today wondering what success from God is going to look like in your life, keep in mind what God wants from you first. Success comes in many shapes and forms, and the success that you're praying for might be given to you in ways you weren't expecting. Understand that progressing in your faith is the prerequisite to receiving success from God. So be a true help to the church and the church administration in taking care of the brethren. Be an officer. Remember that the next time someone asks you to be an officer, because when it comes to holding an office inside the church, it's filled my life with so many blessings. And one of the most important things about it all is that it saved me during the most difficult times of my life. God has given all of you, all of us, so many talents. And the best way to thank Him is by using our God-given talents to help the church. Thanks for watching. Bye!